From one superhero to another, Formula One, in fact, and could a former four-time world champion be set for an incredible return to the sport? Craig Slater, tell us.
Yeah, the superhero being, not me, Sebastian Vettel, of course, 4 times world champion, as you say, retired at the end of last season. He was with Aston Martin, previously Ferrari and Red Bull Racing. 36 years old now. Last won the championship a decade ago in 2013. Last won a race in 2019, the Singapore Grand Prix, the event we have this weekend. But is he already getting itchy feet? Martin Brundle caught up with them in Germany last weekend, where he drove his 2011 championship-winning Red Bull car with sustainable fuels. Sustainability, green technology, very much a priority for Sebastian Vettel at the moment. But listen to this exchange now between Martin and Sebastian on the subject of Vettel maybe coming back to the sport.
So you've got the new lightweight haircut, and are you staying race fit?
Yeah, but because I want to, not because I'm like, I'm going to come back, or if somebody falls out, I'm going to, not because of that, but so I guess my neck is not up to speed. No, it can't be, but everything else is pretty good, I would say, yeah.
But you're 36, so you're 4 years younger than Lewis, 6 years younger than Fernando. I mean, who came back? Prost, Lauda,
everybody.
Who came back? Mansell, Alonso, Raikkonen. I mean, you'll come back, won't you?
I can't say no, because you don't know. I think it's something that if you asked all of them, probably some of them would have said no, and some of them I don't know. But in the event, in the end, all of them came back. So I can't exclude it, but it probably will depend much on when, and obviously it's not endless, because at 36 it's not like, in 10 years' time, maybe I think about it. Then time has passed, but it will depend on the challenge, the situation, whatever. But it's not in my head right now, and I'm, enjoying the sort of outlook of the challenge of what to do next.
Very interesting, isn't it, Craig? What would be his possible options if he changes his mind and comes back?
Well, maybe the most obvious one would be Red Bull itself. Now, they're talking about bringing Daniel Ricciardo back to potentially partner Max Verstappen, not next year, but the year after. In a couple of years' time, I think, what about Sebastian Vettel rather than Daniel Ricciardo? Maybe you would have 2 4 times world champions in the same team. I mean, that would be attractive. Red Bull have been rather steering us away from that prospect over the last year or so. But, in a year's time, who knows, might that be an option. This is the last time Sebastian won a race for Ferrari. No question of him going back there. I think the most obvious destination for him, and this makes sense on all kinds of levels, would be the team that's currently Alfa Romeo, but which is going to be Sauber. It's not Sauber, it's going to be Audi in 2026. It is the Sauber team, historically based in Switzerland. Sebastian Vettel lives in Switzerland. Key to all of this is the Volkswagen Group coming into Formula One. So a major player, a brand which would expect and hope to be contending for the World Championship, a brand which would want a marquee name in their car. And if it were a German marquee name like Sebastian Vettel, all the better. So, I mean, that is a distinct possibility. I haven't heard of any soundings out as yet, but it would be no surprise if those happened over the next year or so.
Yeah, sounds like a good fit. What does Formula One miss, not on the track necessarily, but off it since Vettel retired?
A great deal. And I think part of the attraction of him maybe coming back would be in order to promote some of his off-track issues that he wants to keep at the forefront, particularly sustainability. As I was saying, he was driving what's essentially a historic car with sustainable fuels at the Nürburgring at the weekend. Formula One is aiming to come back with fully sustainable fuels in 2026, so that chimes with his ambitions. And I think, generally speaking, him and Lewis Hamilton in particular have been the moral compass of the sport over the last 5 years or so. No one has really stepped up to the plate in terms of allyship with Lewis the way Sebastian Vettel did over the last couple of years, and I think that has been missing.
Gents, we're discussing some big names who have come back from retirement. What's the precedent here in terms of how successful they were?
Well, it has been hit and miss. You're absolutely right. One of the names I don't think they mentioned there was Niki Lauda, who came back into the sport in the early 80s with McLaren and did win the World Championship after a significant absence, his third world title. Others have tried to do the same and not been successful. Nigel Mansell, for example, had a brief stint with Williams and then McLaren. You'd look at Michael Schumacher, who would be doing something similar to the thing I've sketched with Vettel potentially at Audi when he came back with Mercedes, but just retired before Mercedes hit that imperial phase, which Lewis Hamilton was fortunate enough to get involved in. And I guess finally Fernando Alonso, and this is what we have to keep in mind, he's 42 years old and still looking for that third world championship. Even in a couple of years' time, Sebastian Vettel will only be 38. He has a few years yet to aim for that fifth title, maybe with another team.